when the Jesuits came to Rome, very soon the Pope wanted to send them to different parts of the empire, different parts of the world, really. But they hadn't really formalized what exactly was their style of life to be and how they were to interact with each other. Should they move towards forming a religious order? Should they just live their lives more or less as individuals who are sent by the Pope to wherever they were being sent? And so they began their deliberations. And it's very interesting for me in their deliberations, because so often we are aware of St. Ignatius being such a powerful influence that didn't he organize them and didn't he tell them exactly what they were supposed to do? And he would have denied it, and I think they would have denied it. Even in doing the spiritual exercises, the great freedom that he wanted them to have in making their decisions is at the core of those exercises. But when it came time for them to deliberate about what the future was to be, were they to form some sort of a religious order? Were they supposed to take obedience? All of those different things became really critical to them to speak to one another and to pray. They were able very quickly to say, we do want to stay together. We want some form of an association one with another. That was very simple to do. But about the vow of obedience to one of their number and for others of their deliberations, it was more difficult. And what they came up with, which was very wonderful, was a way of praying and bringing the question to God individually, and then discussing. And in that discussion, it was vitally important that they listen to each other, that they hear what each other were saying, that they take very seriously the opinion of everyone. But what's also important is that they all contribute to that discussion. So it's not just a matter that someone is a good listener, it's also that someone has prayed and gone to God and has some sort of an input to say, and that person actually give that input. There are no innocent bystanders in these deliberations. They all must participate. Why? Because it's not just that we need to listen to each other, but it's also that we need to believe that God speaks to us individually. And how that applies, I think, in the Society of Jesus, Jesuits, we see that in a variety of different ways. But in our daily lives, I think it also can apply. And it can apply in our families, where not only do we need to listen to each other, but we really often need to encourage people who, in our families, to really seek out what God is saying to them and listen carefully as they say that. Because if we don't demand of each other that we try in one form or another to listen to God and to speak that, in one way or another, the Lord may not be able to speak to us as fully and completely as we need to hear. It's not that God can't speak to us if someone is silent, but it's rather that God seems to choose that we come to seek His word and seek His wisdom and to discern each of us. And that as we share that with each other, then we find that the voice of God is a lot clearer. And we also find, I think, that it's far easier to accept the decision that a group makes. Their decision was made unanimously, but it becomes easier to accept that decision because we have sought the will of God. If we've listened for that will in the voices of others, and they have listened for that will of God in what we have said. So let us find a way in our lives to encourage others to seek that will. And when decisions, common decisions, have to be made, that we really, in one way or another, are together listening and together speaking what we think is the will of God. And that's the wisdom of Ignatius for today.